All right, what's up, guys? I want to talk a little bit more about this picture. Now, how I got in possession of this photograph. Let me talk about that for a second. So, I received a number of photographs in 2009. So, I was in the Navy at the time. I had a problem where I couldn't fall asleep shortly after I reported for my second tour on submarines. I could not fall asleep. And so I went up for a medical board um, that said my diagnosis was I had a brief reactive psychosis due to sleep deprivation. So I went up for a medical board, and during that time, I was put in a hiatus status. I was removed from my command. I was put in a hiatus status with a I forget the exact name of it, but they have a certain command structure on every base in the Navy where people are retiring, people are getting kicked out for failed drug tests, someone going up for a medical board, you're associated with that command, and they basically ask you, well, what do you want to do while you're with us? So they assigned me to the chapel. I said, okay, I'll go to the chapel. So while I was at the chapel, I was with them for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or something. So while I was at the chapel, one of their priests that worked there, so this would have been a chaplain that joined the military just to be a chaplain, he was approaching being in the military for 40 years, which is the longest time that you could be in. So he was at his 39-year point or something. He was approaching where he had to retire. He cannot stay in any longer than that. I think for most people, you can only be in for 30 years, but for chaplains, for some reason, you can be in longer. So he had gone on sabbatical to the Vatican. And when he had come back, he told us when he was in the offices with us, there's not a lot going on at the chapel. We're there throughout the whole week, and a number of us are there on the weekends too, because they have services on Saturdays and Sundays. So there's a lot of time to, bullshit and talk about things. So he said, when he got back from sabbatical, he took some photos. And I said, oh, that's very interesting to me. Can I get a copy of your photos? And he put a full copy of his photos on a thumb drive and gave them to me. Now, unfortunately, I don't have those photos on my computer anymore. They're on an old laptop of mine that I gave to my mother. So I apologize that this what I'm going through right now on the screen here is from a video I had made 8 years ago, and I apologize that the resolution isn't that good, but the resolution on the original photos were pristine. So this is just in the resolution of whatever recording method I was using at the time, the resolution that was setting. Okay, so that's how I got this photograph. But when I saw this particular photograph going through them, now again, I made two videos about the full set of photographs 8 years ago. You can find them in the same playlist as this video if you want to watch them. They'd be a little hard to sit through. One's like 30 minutes long, the other one's 11 minutes long. But when I saw this photograph, I said to myself, what the fuck is this? Now, before recording this video, I spent about 20 minutes online trying to find this photograph anywhere on the internet. Can't find it. I couldn't find it. Don't see it anywhere. So I don't know where particularly he went while he was at Vatican, being specifically a Catholic, priest that had been in the American military for close upwards of 40 years. I don't know if he was given access to go different places, but I don't see this anywhere on the internet. Now, looking at this whole photo in totality, you got to ask yourself, what in the fuck does this photo mean? What does this mean? What does this depiction of the crucifixion mean? I mean, obviously the way the man is portrayed, now you can tell, even though the resolution isn't that great, here you can tell there's shadows underneath the armpit, shadows underneath underneath the board here. You can even tell this board is on top of the one behind it. So you can tell that this is not a flat surface. This is, you have shadows and everywhere in the on the under parts of everything. You can tell that the light coming from above, this is protruding out. So in doing, some quick Google searches trying to find this photograph, I found many things that said they were bronze. They were made out of bronze. So this is probably not copper. It's probably bronze. And then just the the fucking baby's foot for some reason is polished bronze. Okay, so hold on a second. Hold on a second while I take a quick vape. Okay, so you might think if you're a religious person, well, it's Jesus Christ, that's this is his mother, and that's baby Jesus Christ. That's Virgin Mary, that's baby Jesus Christ. And then for some reason, we have we have a soldier with two fistfuls of fucking money. What does this mean in totality? In totality, what the fuck does this picture mean? This is this is this is a society. This is a society. You have portrayed a family, you have portrayed a man, you have portrayed a wife, you have portrayed a child, an offspring of the two. And then at the bottom, you have, I mean, for the United States, this character at the bottom you could consider that to be the military industrial complex, CIA, FBI. I mean, it's an unmasked man. You just know that it's some sort of soldier. He's got a whole lot of money. Let me I don't know if I have a close up of the bottom part where you can see the large bags of, I mean, it's currency of some sort. It's either silver, shekels of silver, or gold coins. I don't really have a close up of the very bottom, I don't think, but you can tell it's bags of money. I wish I still had the original photograph. Um, that's zoomed into the upper part. But yeah, in totality, what does this photo? I mean, what does this depiction mean? You're gonna make this thing solidly out of bronze. It's apparently, I mean, I there was no one standing next to it when he took this photograph, but I would assume this door is something like 15 feet tall. I mean, it looks like it's a doorway. I'm not sure if it opens up. I'd be very curious to know what it says right here and what it says on the left and the right, some sort of Latin. Be very curious to know what the fuck that says. So let's look at the whole picture. We have nine eight-pointed stars here apparently, and you can see this the exact same shape of this star depicted with three wise men pictures. There'll be three wise men, and there'll be a star depicted with 8 points. Five on one side, four on the left. I mean, these you might be thinking, oh, why is he picking apart all these things? Well, the symbolism means something. I mean, especially when you're going to take the time to have this solid metal fucking Jesus Christ made out of bronze. There's a reason why they have five here on the right, four on the left. I mean, you have two sets of three, right? You have two sets of three, and then you have another set of three. You can look at it that way too. I'm not quite sure, but I do know that this is, I mean, for me, when I first saw it, my first impression was, well, this is the most graphic, most pagan depiction of Jesus Christ on the cross I've ever seen. I mean, the tendons and the ribs showing. I mean, the way the wrists are broken and slanted, particularly where the spike is going through the meat of the hand on this. I mean, being there and seeing it for yourself, this It's not just a picture on a wall. Like it is a full blown, like I would imagine his head and those thorns sticking out of the wall on top of the boards probably sticks out a full foot, if you measured it. But this is again, this is society. A man on a crossroads. You could say that's a two-party system or a democracy. The woman is turned away from the man in despair, in sorrow, just in wanting to. All she knows what to do is to love the child. She knows she needs to do that, take care of the child. The man is, you know, still alive on the cross, but he has a crown of thorns on. In A crown of thorns could be considered the most disrespectful symbol that you could adorn a man with, right? Um, and then at their feet, like at the base of it, you have a soldier with money, an unmasked, man with a shield and a helmet. And I don't know if those are swords going up to the diagonals or rifle barrels. Um, but this is the actual crucifixion scene. Now you got to remember, Rome did this. The Roman Empire did this. I mean, I didn't find out until I was 35 years old and I traveled to Jerusalem myself. I didn't find out that over 2,000 other men were also crucified at the same time, around the same time as Jesus Christ. Over 2,000 other men were crucified. So you go there, you want to kill this guy. He's causing you problems. You round up and you just ask, who supports this man? It wasn't 12 disciples. You take every man that support before you crucify anybody. Don't let anybody know what's going on. You take all fucking 2,000 of them, and then you just start crucifying every single one of them. I don't know how many they had on crosses, but while I was in Jerusalem, on tours, talking to people, going to all the religious sites. They're all within walking distance to each other. They told us if you want to see the crosses, almost all of them are still preserved and still stored in Bethlehem today. All the over 2,000 that crucified the over 2,000 other men, they still had all the crosses. So there wasn't one cross, there wasn't three crosses, there was however many dozens or hundreds of crosses that they used. I didn't find that out till I was 35 years old and traveled to Jerusalem myself. I was pissed. I mean, I was raised in a religious system and went to church on Saturday almost every weekend until I was 19 years old, and then went into the military. And I would occasionally go to different types of Christian church services, not not on a routine basis, but a couple of times a year for the next few years. And I'm talking up to the age I was 35 years old. Going to Jerusalem myself, I didn't find out about that. I couldn't believe it. I was in I traveled there for 17 days, and when I left the city, I and flew back home. I had no religious beliefs whatsoever. Now, I had been in possession of this photo since about 5 or 6 years prior to that. And I guess, if you have the power to surround an entire city, crucify 2,000 fucking men, I guess you can write. I mean, this is a church that's in control, basically, of religion. You can write whatever new books you want to. What if Jesus Christ was reincarnated? These are questions you could ask yourself. What if reincarnation, first, not a lot of people believe in that. What if reincarnation was a thing? What if Jesus Christ was reincarnated, or you could travel back in time and talk to him, and he tells you, New Testament of the Bible? What do you mean? It's about me. The first four books are about me? What if he's completely oblivious? Died for your sins. How could I have known what sinning you would have done and died for them? What if he's completely confused at the story of the New Testament? and does not agree? What if Jesus Christ would not consider himself a Christian? And why wouldn't he? Because Christianity is seeded by the Roman Catholic Church by performing this methodology in Jerusalem at the time. This specific depiction here is to portray what they did to Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Why would you have such a gruesome, graphic portrayal of his body with a fucking soldier with bags of money at the feet? Okay, that's enough for now. Maybe I'll make a part 3. I mean, people, guys, fucking hell. Unfucking believable what they did. It's unfucking believable what they did. Just because you've had these beliefs your entire life that someone died for you. Well, I'm sorry. Sounded too good to be true now, didn't it?